unboxing. It's a lawnmower. So I've got pretty much all I need on the trimming, hedge cutting side of business I'm trying to establish, and I don't have the lawnmower inside taken care of, but now I do. I've got two lawnmowers. This one here is to take care of the small gardens up to, this straddles small up to medium. The other lawnmower I have goes from medium to large. This is an 18-inch cut Husqvarna lawnmower. It is the LC 347V. It's not a commercial lawnmower. It's sort of they aim it at the homeowner for tough to medium sort of work, or medium to sort of semi-hard work, but it's not a commercial lawnmower. But the one that I have to take care of that side is aimed at medium to large gardens, and it's quite a heavy beast. And this, if I'm doing lots of smaller gardens, this is what I basically bought that to take care of. I did want to go with a commercial lawnmower, and I looked at going with John Deere for the same size sort of gardens, but it just runs into a lot of money, and I don't have it at that point. So again, this is from F.R. Jones and Son Limited. I'm very happy with them. I bought all my pieces from them. It's a good service. They keep you informed. The stuff generally arrives in very good condition. It obviously leaves them in really good condition. With this one, the box was open on top. I worried for a minute like somebody been dipping in there, but it's just like the tape has gone. It's still sealed at that end. This cost me £350 because of where it would have been free if I'd have lived on the mainland. I don't, but they charge. It's a very small fee to bring it over where I am. It was £12 on top of it. So this, I don't know if I said, is the Husqvarna LC 347V, aimed at small gardens. As I said, it's more of a homeowner lawnmower, not a commercial lawnmower, but they don't do a small walk behind commercial lawnmower, and the others, it was just getting too expensive. I have a commercial lawnmower to take care of medium to large, which I'll unbox in another video, but this is just to show you what's inside the box here. I'm going to unbox it and put it together and show you it. So here goes. So literally, having just opened the top, so that focus, this is what it looks like inside. I haven't touched anything yet. Just wanted to show you that's what it looks like packaged in the box. And I'm going to start taking it out now. So, having got it out of the box, this is what I'm left with. Obviously the lawnmower itself, instructions, the bag and the frame for the bag, and this little strange package, which I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a bit of oil. That's what it feels like, actually. Drop of oil. Yeah. So there it is. And it's lovely orange colour. So that focus a moment. Just to let you know, in case you're interested, on this particular one it is 30 kilograms. I think the box said 32 with everything in it. So it's not heavy, it's about average. I just got rid of a Mass Sport, which I was very pleased with, but just wanted a new machine, and it was around about the same weight. It's a composite deck. The Mass Sport was stainless steel. This has got the newer Briggs & Stratton engine. I know there's a bit of snobbery. Well, I've heard some, like a friend I know who does gardening, and he did do gardening, and you know, they all just want the Honda. But the Briggs and Stratton on the last Mass Sport I had, I really liked it. I am crap mechanically, but I found it a very easy engine to work on. I did a couple of little bits, cleaned the carburetors out, and I found it very easy to work on. I found it a nice engine, and although I didn't get to use it much, I didn't have any problems with it, and I liked it. I'm going to tell you a little bit more later about the engine on this particular lawnmower. But what I'll do now is I shall start putting it together. It doesn't look much to it, and show you the finished product. So there it is. There isn't an awful lot to do. For those that are interested, the instructions in English on the Husqvarna instruction book starts at page 70, but there's not much to it. Just on a side note, when I was looking for garden equipment, there are some dealers that say they justify a premium because what they do is they say they take it out of the box and go give it a once over and set it all up, make sure it works, and then put it back in the box, send it off to you. I don't know what you think of that, whether that's worth paying the premium. There literally is really very little to do on this, apart from peel off some stickers, protective layers, not stickers, sorry, and there is, in that package there was the oil. You've just got to put the oil in it. Interestingly, the oil, I don't know if you can see that, is Viking. Isn't that owned by Stihl? Don't know why I think that's interesting actually, but that's as far as I know. That's the oil they gave. Reading the Briggs and Stratton recommendations, the oil I'm going to go with is a fully synthetic. That was for my Audi that I used to have, and that gives me, D there is fully synthetic 5W/30, gives me the best operating range. So yeah, that's what I'll be putting in. I'll keep that for a backup. Just interestingly, to go on a slight little bit about the engine, as far as I'm aware, this is a non-prime engine, and kind of Briggs and Stratton advertise this particular engine, which is there you go, that Focus 650 EXI, and they kind of advertise it as a low maintenance engine, that you don't really need to do anything. All they kind of recommend, just trying to get that to focus, is when the oil needs topping up, that you just keep an eye on it and just top it up as and when, but apart from that, there's very little user maintenance you need to do. Personally, I kind of think that, knowing how some people are, that kind of opens doorways to abuse these sort of engines, you know, to not give a monkeys about them and just run them in the ground. I'm going to be obviously using a very good oil in it, a fully synthetic oil, and I will be changing it. They say you don't need to change it, just periodically check it and keep it topped up. The only reason I will be changing it, because I want to prolong the life of it, look after it, and yeah, basically I'm hoping it will last me quite a while if I do that. Going back to the installation, the only thing I had to really set up was to put this bag on the frame. So sorry, just kind of cut myself off there. Let that focus again. The only bit of installing I had to do was to put this bag onto this frame, and it's very easy to do. If you are getting one of these, or you get another, I suppose this is quite a generic bag and frame, I would recommend possibly putting those bottom ones on first. They were the hardest to clip over the frame. These, if I can do this one-handed, hopefully, is they just clip over. So they clip over there, the top. But the harder ones to get on, they took a bit of shoving. Whether that's because I did them last, and you know, well, the bottom ones. But it took, you know, it was very quick to do, easy to do. Just stretch the bag over. They are plastic. They're quite hard plastic, sort of a lot of flex in them, but you know, don't force. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to put the oil in now. Get it on a level surface, top it up with the fully synthetic oil, just and yeah, give it a start. It's non-prime, it says. You just have to pull the cord when you're ready to go and it will start. I don't know about the, obviously initially it's going to have no fuel in it, what that's going to be interesting to sort of the first step. I'll have a read the instructions, see what they recommend and let you know. I know some people wet their pants about turning lawnmowers on their side. This hasn't got any fuel oil in it. I just thought nosers might be interested to see what the underneath looks like. There it is. So now I'm going to put the fuel and oil in. That's the fuel, that's the oil. Don't think I'm going to be able to film and do that at the same time, so bear with me. So here it is, it's wearing its box. I'm going to do the first fire up. I've been meticulous in making sure the right oil is in there. It's fueled up. They recommend not to fuel. There's a level there just below where the, so basically this neck goes down, and where it opens up they don't, that's where they like you to fuel up to. But the oil, I've been meticulous about getting it it's just below the maximum. But there it is with the collector bag on, or box, whatever you want to call it. It's nice and simple to do, to put on. It's actually a lot better than it looked on the website. I'm actually really pleased. It's got these chunky bars. It's almost got a commercial look to it. It doesn't feel my Mass Sport. I'm not going to diss the Mass Sport. It was a really nice little machine. It was the 350 ST. Lovely little machine, but this has got a different feel to it. It's got chunkier, fatter bars, nice big rubber handle. Like I say, it almost feels like a commercial grade machine. I'm going to show you putting the bars up, handlebars, whatever you want to call them. So it just comes up and over. Let's see if I can show you. You've got two heights there. I'll show you the actual bar there. See two. Actually the most comfortable there, the lowest one, or the highest one, whichever way you want to look at it. And then obviously once you've done that, you tighten those up. This was interesting, very similar on my Mass Sport, but the Mass Sport throttle just went up and down. This clicks, two positions. I'm not sure whether I like that. Mass Sport obviously went from there all the way down to there. It doesn't go beyond that, it's like two positions, so I've checked, I'm sure that's right. That'll be when it's fastest. It just seems to have a couple of speeds, but I'll mess about with that in a minute. I'll show you the initial start up. So, start procedure according to the Briggs & Stratton manual, because obviously they make the engine. You put this lever into the fastest position, fastest run position, which it's on. You pull back on that start bar or dead man's hand or whatever you want to call it, and then you pull back on this gently until you feel some resistance, and then when you feel the resistance you crank it fast, and that should start it. I'm gonna have to get somebody to film me now, and I'll show you how many goes it takes to get it going, because it hasn't been started. I'd imagine it's going to take a few to get the fuel pumped around it, but we'll see. Okay, so first starter. So throttle on the fastest position or fastest run, I don't know what you call that. This bar against the handle, and then you pull it on this to get some resistance and then crank it. This will be the first starter.
Yeah. Oh.
Right, I've give it a sort of a little trial. It's done my garden. My garden's very small. I wouldn't want to think that it would be workable in a much smaller garden than this. But then I think you're looking at the realms of like those Honda Izzies and things like that. I know Husqvarna do. I think a 140, I think they do, but this, I think it's going to work for what I intended it as, to take care of sort of the small to medium gardens, and then for the medium to large, the overlap, I've got a commercial mower which I will unbox and show you set up later. But I really like this. It's only done, it's just this one little lawn, but it's got some really nice features. I really like that engine. As I say, I know some snobbery, not many people, but somebody that went out and bought a lawnmower simply based on the engine that it had. He didn't really care much for the frame, and it began to look tired and worn out fairly soon, but because it had a Honda engine on it, that's why I bought it, and obviously the price. But yeah, where I was going with that, sort of wandering off there, I think they get a little bit unfair treatment by some people, these Briggs and Stratton. They just won't consider them, and I think it's a really good little engine on there. I'm impressed by it. My dad's got a John Deere mulcher. It's quite old. It looks like it's had a lot of work, and that has got a Briggs and Stratton engine on it, and that fires up first time almost all the time. And I don't think the last owners looked after it that well. So yeah, I reckon they make good engines basically. I've got no trouble with it. I really like that central height adjuster handle. That is really nicely weighted. I was quite surprised that I thought you'd be sort of lifting it, but it's obviously supported on springs some way. As I say, it's really nicely weighted. The bag, a nice touch about the bag. I had, now when I mention other mowers in these, I'm not dissing them, I'm just comparing it to the mowers that I've used. Like I said, I had a Massport before this, and it was really nice. I liked it. It was a nice, lovely little mower, and I had a Honda rear roller that was quite old. Now, where I'm going with this bag, if this was to tear, you don't have to, I don't know, I mean, I'm without checking parts availability, but the actual bag, if you did catch it and tear it or do something to it, you only need to obviously buy the actual bag itself. As I say, on the Honda, which was a really decent machine, a really nice bag, I think it was stitched around the frame. It was an old machine, so whether they've changed that now, I don't know. I'm not knocking them, but just it was something I noticed, that it was stitched around. So if you needed a new bag, you had to obviously buy the whole thing. This obviously pops off this frame, so you would only need the bag. I don't know what that costs. That's just something I just was thinking about. Now, something when I was considering getting it. Something that I did consider a lot, of the mowers that I have used, I wonder if you can sort of get where I'm going with this, they all had this different handle. I've seen this type used on a lot of John Deere. I've seen it on obviously the Husqvarna. I can't think of some others that I've seen it on, but most of them go with that other, I don't know what you call it, the handles that are turned up. And I was watching, because I didn't get a chance to try before I buy, or try before I bought it. The correct grammar is, but I thought it looked more comfortable. But without having a chance to have a go, because all the other ones, my Honda, the Massport, and the one I used to use at work, and Alco, I think they pronounce it, all had the other type of handle. This one, I watched, as I said, a couple of videos, people using them on YouTube, and I thought it looked more comfortable, but I wasn't sure. Having used it, I think I've made the right choice. It is really comfortable. If you've got one of the other ones, obviously there's nothing wrong with it, but if you get a chance, I would say consider it. I definitely would say consider this machine. It's a funky, it's chunky, it really looks well made. It looks to me like a commercial machine. It looks built to last. I really like it. Another nice feature is this that they've placed over this bar, and it is really nice and comfortable. The old type I used would have just had that bar, and there's no problem. It wasn't awful to use, but this is really comfortable on that. It's really nice to use with that sort of plastic covering they've put over it. And like I say, on the others you would just have this bar, and it would become fairly uncomfortable after a while of holding that down. If you're doing any big lawns where you're on it for extended periods, you could feel the bar in your hand. This is really super comfortable on this. So it's got a nice rubber overlay on the handle. It's a nice size. It's quite chunky, I think, and it's been a real nice first outing with this. I really like it. So I'm impressed with it. I think I made the right choice when I bought it. I did a lot of thinking, working things out, looking at videos. I did look at the performance of the engine, and the ease of use, the low maintenance, and I like it. I really like it. I'm really pleased. I'm back in my van because it was fairly windy outside. I was struggling with the sound, so I've come back to the van. Just want to talk a little bit about the engine, a little bit, just because I've tossed around the word maintenance 3, I think, and or low maintenance. Whilst that is correct, I think, you know, without wanting to be responsible for people maybe hearing maintenance 3 not checking the instructions themselves, maybe they bought a used machine and think that they can just run it without any maintenance. So I just want to go through what it actually says in the instructions for the maintenance schedule. I don't know if that's coming out. So it says every 5 hours change the oil, not required on the just check and add models. Now this is a check and add, just check and add model. Every 8 hours or daily, check the engine oil level, check around the muffler and controls, clean air intake grill. Every 25 hours or annually, check air filter. Every 50 hours or annually, change engine oil. Not required on the just check and add. So that's what I was talking about. It says I just have to keep the on this engine, which is a just check and add, just to top it up. It does not require that I change it. I spoke that I was going to change it regardless of what they say, because I want to really prolong the life of this engine. So that's kind of what I was talking about when I sort of said it's a low maintenance. If I said maintenance free, then I'm incorrect. And there as well, every 50 hours service the exhaust system, and then every year replace spark plug, replace the air filter, service cooling system, check valve clearance. In dusty conditions where airborne debris are present, clean more often. Not required unless engine performance problems are noted. So that's for the valve clearance and the service and cooling system. So there you go. I didn't want to sort of mislead anyone by saying it's maintenance free, low maintenance engine, and sort of draw the wrong conclusions for some people. So that's really what I was talking about. Hope that clears that up. Having had a chance to use it for a little bit, a couple of small niggles, pointers. One very small and might seem a bit petty, but it's probably worth mentioning. I don't know if it's going to come out on the camera. So right there and there, when this was in transit, these handlebars are folded over, obviously the packaging to keep it as small as possible. They were resting there, and obviously the other one on there. And where they've been in transit, it's been, I don't know, on boats, vehicles, whatever, and it's moving around. It's worn into the handlebars. Not much, hasn't even gone through that, but it's a small little detail, and perhaps a little bit of polystyrene there, or some sort of, I don't know, foam packaging on the wheel or around the handlebar would reduce that, or stop that actually altogether. Just a small detail. I know it sounds a bit petty, but that's me. The other one is this system for adjusting the height. There's two height settings to this handlebar. And what you do, they call this a lever in the instructions, but this wheel, you basically you loosen it off on there and on over there. Now this is really going to be difficult to do. And what you do, let's see if it'll work. You choose, right, this should be, right, that's, I don't know if you saw that went forward. Probably didn't. I'll try on that one. Yeah, that one's gone forward as well. You can see the back of the bolt head in there. Then what you do, you choose the height you want. Is that working? So you've got two height positions. And I'm going to put it on that one for ease, just for this demonstration. And then, if you can see there, so I've lined up the one I want on both sides. And let's focus. That back of that head, bolt head, should slide all the way back up, and it makes a clicking noise when it gets to there, and that's locked. And then you tighten it. This side was very stiff. I had to put some spray grease on it, and what I did, I worked it up and down, back and forth lots of times to get it to a point where I could, each time get that in and out of position. This one, I couldn't budge it. Again, I had to use spray grease and really persevere with this to get that to go into the locked position, or the position where it clicks and where you can actually do the lever up. I don't know why. I'm only going to put that down to being brand new, and it just needed use. But if you are perhaps somebody that was elderly, had bought this, I don't know, frail, I don't know, whatever you want, weak, I don't know, whichever way you want to word that. It was, on this side particularly, it took some messing about to get it to go back and forth. It might even, I'm going to try now one-handed, see if I can pull it back. There you go, see, it keeps catching. See if I can get that one, what you're looking for. Now that one's gone back nicely, and I tighten that up. This one, let's see, I put my finger over. It's the one I'm having trouble with. There you go, it's gone back. Now, so I kept doing that basically with a bit of spray grease and just constantly doing that. It's still, this one's, it keeps catching there. This one's the worst of the two. It's hard to do this one-handed, but there you go, that's in the lock position. But if you get one and you find the same thing, as I say, I would lubricate that and just work that. I wouldn't force it. I kind of had to put a bit of elbow grease into it, but that's all I did, is I just kept moving it back and forth. Now it's working okay. So I just, again, as I say, would simply put that down to being new and needing bedding in, I don't know, whatever it is, word you use for it. Can't really think of anything else, having only used it once. The engine, as I said, I was surprised. I don't know how modern engines, you know, what they do to them, but it's a non-prime system. You just basically pull that cord out. The starter procedure, which I probably mentioned earlier, is you pull that handle into that position, or hold it there, and then you pull on that cord gently until you feel resistance, and when you feel resistance you then crank it fast, and it should start, they say, in 1 or 2 pulls each time. Now I was quite impressed that being brand new, out of the box, not having any liquids in it, or fuel or lubricants, whatever you want to call it, like the fuel and oil, I thought that would take a few pulls at least, until the, initially being brand new, that to work the fuel around the system where it would ignite and, you know, start like that. I obviously expect it, once it's around the system, to then do what they say is start up within 1 or 2 pulls, but the initial 1 pull was damn impressive, that it started up. Maybe I'm easily pleased, but that was impressive, I thought. As I say, I've heard a bit of snobbery from some people towards, you know, like, if it's not a Japanese engine, then it's not worth having. But it's obviously the amount of Briggs and Stratton engines there are out there, that they're decent. I like them. I don't think there's a problem with them, and I don't think that snobbery is justified. I do think the Japanese engines are good, but as I say, I also think the Briggs and Stratton engines are decent. I don't have a problem with them, as I keep saying. And I mean, obviously, if this does, it's not a commercial machine. It's going to hopefully be in a commercial setting. As I say, they don't have, Husqvarna don't have a smaller 18-inch commercial lawnmower. As I say, was going to get an 18-inch, I think it was 18-inch John Deere, but it was this was £350. The John Deere were knackered, or well-used examples were, you know, another 50 quid on top of that. So I just didn't have the funds. I would have liked a John Deere for the smaller gardens, a commercial example, but unfortunately they didn't have one that I could afford at this particular time, but I'm very pleased with this so far, and it will be looked after, but I will update if things do go wrong. But I always think it's a bit unfair that to use it in a way that's not recommended by the manufacturer, because they're onto a bit of a loser there, aren't they, if you're not using it how they say. But it is designed for medium to tough use, it says, or fairly demanding. I can't remember how they word it in the book. But it will be looked after. And another probably a small niggle worth mentioning. Another small thing I've looked into, maybe a little gripe that's not justified, I don't know, you say. They do a mulching kit for this, and the mulching kit basically consists of a plug which goes in the back there, obviously, and plugs it, but it also includes a blade for mulching specifically. I've seen machines that can mulch. They can, as I say, I think the Massport, I don't think I needed anything for that. It could mulch apart from the plug. But this, if you want the mulching kit, which is not unreasonable, I think it's 30 quid. It's a plastic plug, and it comes with another blade specifically aimed at mulching. But I don't know how many people will do that, change the blade, as well as obviously the kit. The plug is fairly easy to put in, but whether that's something other people do, I don't know. That's interesting. But whether that's justified to moan about that, I don't know. But it probably will get the mulching kit. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, just thought I'd bring that up as well. Just to talk a little bit about, a little bit about the height adjuster on this machine. For some reason, and I don't know why, that I thought that, say for instance now it's on its highest setting, to lower it, that just pulling this button, that gravity would act on it and it would drop down. You don't. It's sort of, you've got to push it. I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it back up. You kind of got to push down on it and pull up. I thought, but really what I'm just saying is actually a very nice system. It's really well weighted. Again, not rubbishing the other lawnmowers that I use, but this sort of one sort of adjustment that adjusts all four wheels, height adjustment from a single point that adjusts all four wheels. This is the best I've seen so far. Again, I haven't had a great deal of experience with lawnmowers, but the as I say, the Massport that I just had and the Honda rear roller, they all were adjustable from a single position, but you kind of, it was a bit like a bolt action is the best way I can describe it. You kind of pulled the lever out, did kind of lift it or push it down. It wasn't as nicely weighted, it wasn't weighted like this as I can remember. So that's a really nice feature. A lot better in use than I thought it would be. Finally, we've come to the end of this unboxing and initial review of this particular lawnmower from Husqvarna. As I mentioned, this mower is labelled as being able to cope with demanding occasional use, aimed at small to medium gardens. To reiterate, this is not a commercial mower. Unfortunately, Husqvarna do not do a commercial mower to cover these size gardens. They do, however, do a commercial mower to cover medium to large gardens, and I bought one. But that's an unboxing and review for another time. Bye for now, and hope you enjoyed this.